Hello, it's Ollie here. So today we're going to be playing a bit of Memoir 44 using the CGG solo system. What's Memoir 44? What's the CGG solo system? So I'm going to pick this up in my review, but Memoir 44 is a World War II kind of light hex war game. It's been out for a very long time. It's recently been re-released. It's probably the first kind of proper war game I played or owned. Um, I really like this game. It's really good fun. It's quite easy to learn. But we're actually going to play this solo, and we're doing something slightly different than usual. This is a two-handed solo. So what that means is um, you're using, you're basically playing yourself, which normally I don't really like to do. But this really clever system called the CGG solo system is an adaptation of a community member, Stuka Joe, really great guy, who's essentially created this way of like limiting in card-based games the amount of indecision you have. So essentially, I'm not going to run through the system properly here, but what it does is when I'm drawing cards, rather than having five in each hand and trying to pick, it's going to limit me down each turn. So I've only got one, two, or three choices. Now, what I'm also going to do, I'm going to be playing, we're going to be playing the Guadalcanal campaign here. So I'm going to do a sort of a loose campaign. We're going to start with the Battle of Alligator Creek. And what I'm going to do is play primarily as the US Marine Corps, but the Japanese, I'm going to control them myself, but I'm going to play with some rules. So they're going to be very aggressive, and I'm not going to overly finesse their tactics. They're going to try and attack me where I'm weakest and attack me with as many numbers as they can. To represent the kind of aggressive tactics of the Japanese in the Second World War. So that's what we're going to do with them. When there's edge cases, I'm going to make the best decisions, so not to slow up the game. But I've got some kind of in my own head rules of how I'm going to operate, and then in certain cases I'm going to use chit counters to draw units randomly if we have to select across. So that's my method. It's a bit experimental, and we'll see how that goes. So we'll get straight into it. So I'll give you a bit of historical background. So we're looking at the Pacific War, so the war between the US and Japan. What's happened? We've had Pearl Harbor, which was a disaster for the US. That's brought them into the war. Battle of Midway's happened, so the Japanese have lost a lot of their carrier fleet, so they're now seriously weakened. And then the US Marines and the Army have gone into Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands to try and prevent the threat to Australia by the Japanese, who are advancing everywhere at this point. So the Marines have landed on Guadalcanal mostly unopposed. And then what's happened, and I'm not an expert on naval history, I'm reading a great book by Ian W. Tolm, on the third book by him now on the Pacific War. It's really epic, kind of detailed narrative history. I love narrative histories of the conflict. So I'm on the third one, and Guadalcanal was in the second book. So from my memory, and it might not be perfect, there's the naval battle at Savo Island, off Guadalcanal, which the US lost a fair few cruisers and destroyers that were destroyed by torpedoes. The Japanese had good ship-to-ship torpedoes, and they attacked at night to avoid US air power. And what that meant was that essentially the Marines were stuck on, and the Army, I think it was the Marines most on Guadalcanal, but I think there were also Army forces. I don't want to diminish the Army's contribution, but the Marines were essentially left by themselves to defend the key airfield, Henderson Field there. So what's happening here is that the Japanese are trying to attack Henderson Field, Battle of Alligator Creek, and they're trying to basically break through and take the airfield over the cover of darkness. And they're going to be storming up the beach in kind of Banzai attacks. So I'll just quickly run you through the scenario, and we'll get into playing. So just this is the campaign book 2, quite rare, hard to find. I've owned this for years, bit of a collector's item, this one. There's so many expansions to Memoir 44. So I'm actually not going to play this, at least this scenario with traditional campaign rules, because it's hard enough to stop tricking yourself when you're playing two-handed. But I may bring in some campaign elements as we go, but I don't want to make it too ahistorical or give one side too much of an advantage. So what we're looking at is Battle of Alligator Creek or Tenaru. So during the night of the August 20th, 21st, the Marine Scouts on the east bank of Alligator Creek detected the movement of a large body of Japanese troops. Colonel Kaneo Ichiki ordered his infantry troops forward using human wave tactics, but the 2nd Battalion of the 1st Marines of Colonel Edmund A. Pollock would not be dislodged. Using canister fire, Pollock's guns decimated the Japanese wave. Ichiki then sent part of his force upstream to outflank the Marines, but after a fierce fight, this attempt also failed. The stage is set, the battle lines are drawn, and you're in command. The rest is history. So for this one, it's pretty nice and simple. It's 5 command cards each. The Japanese have some combat engineers, the Americans have some tanks, and then they have artillery, but it's kind of representing anti-tank guns firing canister. And we've got 6 medals, which basically there's no actual objectives to take on this one. It's all about destroying the enemy. So 6 full units of Japanese or US forces destroyed, then one side wins. And we've got a big stream in the middle, which is going to slow down the Japanese Banzai attacks. And there's also a kind of a beach and river opening at the end of Alligator Creek. So this battle is actually shown in HBO's Pacific, which I strongly recommend. I personally think it might have an edge on Band of Brothers, my controversial opinion, but it's such a good show and it's underrated. It really does show the horror of this conflict. And you know, the absolute savagery on both sides, and also a bit of humanity that can be found in there. So we'll get straight in, relatively straightforward. I've done a practice game and the Japanese won, so let's see if the US will prevail. And just the other thing to note is that we're going to be using the new air plan, which is the new air rules which come in a pack. I've never used them before, so bear with me, but we're going to try and use them just to give this game a bit more interest. So let's dive right in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put out our cards for each side. So I'll just give it a good shuffle. Sorry, it's a bit of a reflection. I've got a skylight, but hopefully I'll try and minimise it as much as I can. Right, so we're going to deploy our cards down, 5 in each slot. So basically what this means is that we have these slots for the solo system, which will limit what choices each side has. So put them down. And then we're also going to deploy, provide some air cards each. So let me just grab those. So I believe that the Japanese will get an extra air card to start with. So I'll just give them those. So they're going to have ground to air ambush. Another ground to air ambush. Oops, maybe I haven't shuffled that too well. I might redraw that one. Precision bombing. I think they get a 3rd card as well, which will be dogfights. Ambush. Okay, so they've got 3. And then the US are going to have 2 cards, I believe. There we go. So we'll also be using combat cards in this scenario just to give it a bit of flavour, because, you know, Memoir 44 is a great game, but it is quite simple, and I played a lot more advanced war games now, and I need something just to add a bit more interest for me. Okay, so we've got that down now, and now we're just going to flip the first 2 cards on each slot. So so for example, the US are going to be on the red selection here, and then we're using the first 2 there. So you can see I've only got 2 to select, which you'll see in a minute how that works. And then for the Japanese on the right hand side, we've got 2 cards there. Okay, brilliant. So I believe the Japanese start on this scenario. So I'm going to roll for them. So we have a special dice that we're going to use, and this special dice is going to inform it. So it's interesting because this solo system here, the CGG solo system, this is actually not for Memoir 44, but in the pack it's for Command and Colors Napoleonics, and because Command and Colors is the system that Memoir 44 uses, you can really easily adapt it over. So I'm going to roll this now for the Japanese. So that is lowest value tactics card. So what that means is I haven't got any tactics cards to display, so I have to pick the lowest, the weakest card. So Recon Enforce is my weakest card, so we'll go with that one. So what I'm going to do is we probably want to try and get some attacks as soon as we can and as quick as we can. There's no reason to slow down because otherwise we're going to be destroyed. So I'm just going to mark up which forces are going to attack. So I think what we'll do is we'll pick this one, and then we'll pick on the beach, and then we'll pick the engineers there, and then we're going to we'll pick this this one here. So we have to choose each section. There's 3 sections on the board, and we're picking one section each. Okay, so we've done that. We now look at movement. So I could bring on planes, but I don't know whether I want to do that yet. Maybe we do. Could potentially look at bringing in. No, I think for the first round we're going to try and get some more infantry into position, so we'll bring our planes in soon. Okay, cool. Let's go from there. So we'll start here on the right flank from the Japanese perspective. They are going to move 2 and do a Banzai charge against these guns. No half measures. Let's see if we can clear the artillery before they even get a chance to shoot. And then the engineers are going to do a similar move. They're going to move into the jungle over here. And they have to stop when you move into the jungle. But I believe that you can battle, so they will do so. And then we've got our infantry on the left flank. They're going to shift into the jungle. Okay. So let's start on the right flank here, from the Japanese perspective. So Japanese troops get an extra dice when attacking very close. So I'll roll their extra dice. So we've got normally 3, 1 extra for being Japanese troops. We'll get -1 because of the jungle / sandbags. So we will be rolling a 3, I believe. Yep. So 3 attacks. Okay. 1 infantry. And okay, so that's going to be nothing because we need a grenade to destroy the artillery. So a bit of a failed attack there from the Japanese. And then the Japanese have moved into this jungle where I believe they can battle still. So it's going to be 3 dice because that's what's next to them. 2 here because it's 2 away, and then 1 because of the cover. So let's roll for that one. It's a flag. But what a flag means is that it'll run away, but because they've got, the US Marines have sandbags, they're not going to run. Okay, so 1 more attack from the Japanese here. So we've got only 1 eligible target who can be hit because they're not in cover. So we've got 3, 2, 1, and we're going to try and shoot the Marines there. We've got a flag, so these Marines have to retreat. I'm going to pull them back to the right. In fact, to the left. There we go. I feel there's more of a threat to the left. There we go. Okay, so that's not particularly effective turn for the Japanese. Let's say they're like kind of crawling up to the wire. I've just realised I've moved the Japanese engineers kind of away from the wire. Maybe that was a bit of a mistake. I'm not sure if I'll take that turn back up, but they're probably more likely to move towards the wire to cut it, but oh well. I think we'll keep our move as it is. Okay, so now we're looking, we've played Recon and Force, we now discard that card. So I'm just going to discard to there, and we draw a new card, and interestingly we place it face down, which increases the fog of war. So from the US perspective, the only card I know that the Japanese have is General Advance. And as the Japanese player, I also don't know what I've got coming up. So it kind of adds to that fog of war and prevents decision paralysis. Okay, so we've got move out and then we've got attack on the right. Okay. I'm going to use Pilot Initiative to bring in a new card, a new plane, I think, for the Americans. So we're going to use attack on the right flank. Oh, sorry, I need to roll my command dice first. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, A and B, okay, that's fine. So only these two cards are going to be active. So we're going to use attack on the right flank, I think. So we're going to use that. And we're going to, this is all a bit new to me, so there's always a chance I'm getting this wrong, but back again, just had to clarify a few things on the air rules. So we were on the US attacking on the right flank. So what I'm going to do is we're going to use the Pilot Initiative card as well. And what this does is that it allows me to bring on a single plane as one of my orders. I'm going to bring this one on. So we're going to bring on a fighter bomber from the US perspective, and we'll bring him on here. And then we're going to mark up 2 more infantry to come on. Sorry, I think I moved this one before. So this guy here, he's already moved, so I've shifted him into this jungle. And then we're going to activate this unit here, and he's going to move to here. And then the plane, as part of this card, is going to do his attack. So what he's going to do is, he's got, as a fighter bomber has, in terms of ammunition, they have 3 bomb ammo and 3 normal ammo. So we'll whack that onto him. And what he's going to do is, I think, he will put in his bomb ammo and just try and bomb the Japanese forces, so he can essentially do a move over the Japanese forces, dropping his bombs as we go, and then he flies all the way to the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is all new to me. These air rules are completely alien to me because I've never played with air rules in Memoir. I've heard mixed things, but why not? Right, so basically he's done a strafing run over the Japanese forces, so we now need to resolve any combats. So this guy's moved into here. He's not going to have any. There's no eligible targets. They're too hidden in the jungle, and the same here. So let's just see what the fighter bomber does. So we've got 3 bomb attacks. So I score any attack for a grenade or symbol matching the target's unit, and terrain is ignored. So we'll do 1 bomb die. It's a tank, so that's on this unit. That's a miss. And then the second one, got a star. It's another miss. Come on. And the third one, it's a star, which is another miss. Okay, that's a bit of a waste. These bombs are obviously duds. haven't got enough support from the Navy, so maybe we've got very limited bomber support. That is very disappointing. Okay, well, rubbish. And so we haven't got any more shooting from the Marines because the Japanese are too far away. So rubbish. And then we've lost all our bombs for that plane, so that's not very good. The only upside is now we've used this pilot initiative card, we actually get an additional card back, because that's the advantage of this one. So we'll draw another card here, and we've got a ground to air attack. Okay, it's going to help us defend against other fighters. So we'll put that in the discard over here. Just make sure it's above so we don't get confused. All right, lovely. So we're moving on to the Japanese. This game plays very quickly once you get it down. Okay, so we're looking at C or the lowest. So for the Japanese now, we now reveal the C card, because this is what this one does, or it's the lowest ops card. So we've got C. Okay, this makes perfect sense. This is what I would do if I was the Japanese. So we're going to use behind enemy lines, and we're going to use that on our engineers, I think, to try and get them so that they can strike at the artillery if we can. So let's get these engineers forward. 1, 2, 3. I think their best bet is to try and take the artillery, even though it might leave them exposed. So behind enemy lines allows them to move free and ignore all the terrain restrictions, which is really powerful. Okay. Japanese engineers have moved forward, sneaking through cover. They know the ground, and now what they're going to do is attack with an additional die, because you get one additional die for behind enemy lines. They also get an additional behind enemy lines for Banzai charge, and the best thing of all, they ignore any cover restrictions. So it would be normally 3 for infantry, 4 for the Japanese kind of ability if they've got full strength to hit extra hard in a Banzai charge, and then the final bit is we've got an extra one for the card, and they haven't got any restrictions. So that is a total 5 dice, which is a lot. And any stars will destroy these artillery pieces. Okay, so we've got not any stars, any grenades. So we've got 1 grenade, which means that 1 of these is removed. Pretty strong still. I mean, artillery is hard to remove in this game. I've sometimes house ruled it so you can hit them on stars in close assault, but I don't think it makes too much sense in this scenario because these are anti-tank guns. So I'm going to shift back my guys here, and they're going to go all the way back to the jungle. So next turn they can potentially shift and clear the wire. Okay. Not a bad turn for the Japanese. Could have been useful if they destroyed the gun, but at least there's a better chance next time. Okay, so forgot last turn the Americans need to get rid of this attack card and draw a new one. There we go. Okay, so we've done that. Okay, so behind enemy lines is played out. We're now going to drop another command card. Right, don't know why these are all upside down. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, back to the Marines. C, D, E. So we get to reveal these cards now. Counter-attack. I think that's what makes the most sense here. 2 can play at that game, as it were. So let's say the Japanese engineers have come over, they've done a kind of terrifying and shocking attack. So what I think is important now, let's get our infantry that's behind the lines, come up in support quickly, and they're going to do essentially what we're going to do is counter-attack the behind enemy lines card, which we've just played. So the Marines are going to strike here. So they move forward. and then they're going to attack with 1 extra dice. So they don't get like the Banzai charge ability. Marines can also activate an extra unit, but I don't think on a tactics card like this. So we get 4 dice. And they're all a miss. That is rubbish. Oh, that's not what we wanted. Okay, what shall we do? I need to try and move these guys to somewhere more useful. Ah, that's a bit rubbish. Okay, what we're going to do is just checking behind enemy lines. Terrain movement restrictions are ignored. I don't know if I can move from my own troops though. I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to say no. I'll have to check that one if I can move through my own guys. So I'm just going to shift them backwards. So they're going to move 3, 1, 2, 3, and then this is a bit of a risk to move them into the river. But I think what it might allow me to is then to get into the jungle next turn. Probably a bit of a dangerous move, but we need to use that movement to our advantage. Okay, so that's the Marines. Maybe you get caught out in the river. Let's hope they get a chance. Okay, counterattacks played. Replace the card. Let's look at the Japanese next turn. They need to start getting forward, I think. Okay, CDE again for the Japanese. So reveal 3 cards for them. Trying to not, as I say, not be overthink what the Japanese are doing, and trying to just instead be a bit more direct. Okay, assault in the centre. That's probably what they would do. As many troops as possible. So 1, 2. So we're not going to. This is just going to be a mass move. So I'm not going to bother marking them all up. But I need to get these off. Okay, and then these guys. It's all about the big mass moves really with the Japanese. They can get in there, they can do a lot of damage. Keep to those jungles, keep myself concealed, makes the most sense to me. Okay, that's a lot of troops coming our way, ready for a big Banzai charge. Let's hope from the Americans' perspective that doesn't come up again. Now, because they've all moved 2, they're not going to be able to fire this turn. Okay. Right, back to the Americans. A and B. Barrage, move out. Okay. I think we want to give those engineers a smacking if we can. So we're going to do 4 dice on the engineers. It's obviously the highest priority target. They get to ignore any terrain battle dice reductions. How would this work? Let's say maybe there's a ship that's managed to get through and just fire a naval barrage onto the Japanese on the coast. Even though the Japanese, I think, have control of the waterway Iron Bottom Sound at this point. They can't ignore flags either. Okay, each time matching. Whoa, nasty. So we've got 3 hits on the engineers. It's not what the Japanese wanted. Okay, that's a good turn for the US. Artillery bombardment. Less good because I don't think we've got much. Oh no, we do. We do have it. Oh, I shouldn't have looked at that. Oh, it's cheating a bit. Tell you what, I'm going to shuffle that back in because I've just revealed the card and I shouldn't have done that. Done it again. It's getting into out of old habits. It's very hard. There we go. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to go into Japanese next go. ABC. I think general advance in each section is our best option here. So we're going to use the Japanese engineers, what's left of them. Actually, is it? Yeah, I think it probably would be. It's going to get the most units. So let's. They're going to move to here and clear the wire. Their last noble effort. They have to stop when they land on the river. So I should probably be more disciplined at marking up what I'm activating. So one, those guys, I think we need to get these guys out of the river. In fact, these guys are on the attack, so we'll activate them. Now on the center line, let's put these guys in, and then I think what we would do is we would do the same here. Go for the weakest target. And then we've got only one unit to activate here. Would I activate a plane? That's interesting. Let's have a look, see if there's anything plane-wise worth activating. Yeah, I think we'll wait for another turn. There's too many good infantry opportunities. So the Japanese have moved to grab the wire, which is always important. The infantry here are going to stay where they are. The infantry here are going to... I've forgotten something. I need to give a tactics card, combat tactics cards to each player. Let's do that now. I always forget you need to give two to each side at the beginning of the game. It's not a complicated game, but when you add in all the additional rules, it can be a bit more complex. So let's just say everyone's just finally woken up and started remembering how to do some jungle fighting. So for the Americans, we've got Spider Hole, which doesn't apply to them, and Return to Duty. Okay, I don't think those are going to apply, and let's just see if any of these Japanese tactics apply. So we've got Jungle Fighters, and Reposition. Don't think it's going to really apply. Only if we're firing at jungle troops. So what we'll do is we'll leave these for now, so it's not going to really have any effect yet. Let's go for... Okay, so we've cleared the wire. These guys are going to go straight for the artillery, so they're going to have 4 for Japanese Banzai attacks, and then it's going to be reduced because of the jungle. I could use Jungle Fighters to ignore that terrain restriction actually. You know what, that's what we're going to do. So Jungle Fighters, we're going to play this card to remove this to get an extra. So what it does, it removes the the battle restrictions on the terrain. No, yeah, I realised that there. The barbed wire, sorry, the sandbags are still going to produce some defence, so we'll ignore that. Yeah, we won't use it this turn, we'll use it another turn when it's a bit more useful. Oh, I could use the reposition here, because you've got the jungle warfare, which increases your shooting by 1. Yeah, I think we might do that. Okay, we'll come back to that in a sec. Well, first we're going to attack with these guys here against the artillery. So they're going to get, normally get 4, down to 3. Nothing. And then the infantry here attacking the guys in the open and in the river. So this is where I'm going to use my jungle card reposition. So normally this would have to activate against artillery, but you can actually use the jungle warfare instead, which gives you 1 extra dice when battling out of jungle. So we're going to use that up, and we're going to attack with 5 dice in this case, because we've got 1 extra for the Banzai charge and 1 for the jungle warfare. So let's see if we can shred these marines stuck in the open. Okay, so we've got 2 grenades, kills 2 marines, and they retreat into the jungle. Okay, so as the Japanese, I could take ground to move into the river. I think that might be worthwhile. Is it? Feels aggressive. I'm not sure in this case, so I'm going to make a decision on a dice roll. 1 to 3, they're going to stay in the jungle, and 4, 5, 6, they'll go into the river to do a more aggressive attack next turn. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't. It actually makes more sense for them to stay where they are. So they'll stay where they are. These guys here, you're supposed to do a move before you battle. I would have done that. Sorry, some of my rules I'm not following fully. You're supposed to do all your movement first. So let me just make sure I've done all that before we do any more battles. I'm getting ahead of myself. Please do not use this as a tutorial video on how to play Memoir. I'll do one at some point. Okay, so we ignore these guys because they would never have known, they would have retreated. So they're going to go for the guys in the open there. So let's go for, sorry, in the here. So let's roll for them. Okay, so we're just going to attack guys in the sandbags. So we're going to be on 3. No, yeah, 3 because of the defense. 1 grenade. And ignore the retreat because of the sandbags. And then these guys do the same. 3. 1 grenade. So there is some attrition from these Banzai charges coming in. We need to destroy whole units to score points in this game. Okay, so we've used jungle fighters. That's played out. No, we've got jungle fighters still. We used the other card. And we played general advance, so that's gone. And then we're going to replace it with a new card. Okay. Okay. So we're now looking for the US next turn. There's a lot of pressure on them right now. Okay, highest value tactics card or lowest order operation. We use this tactics card. Is it there? Should we just use a recon? I might use a recon because we've got return to duty here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use return to duty, which basically allows me to bring back extra infantry. So we're going to recon this unit. Should clear these tokens. And move it onto this fella. So we'll roll 2 dice for him and see if he can get some troops back using a tactics card. We rolled 1 infantry, so we get an infantry back. Replacements have come to the front, and then he's going to be moved and ordered, so he's going to stay where he is and he's going to battle. So what we're going to use is we're going to use the spider hole tactics card as well. And that means I'm going to battle with an additional die. So we're going to get 4 die against the Japanese in the river. So 1 infantry, 1 grenade, so that's two of the Japanese troops killed, and then retreat. But Japanese troops actually ignore the first retreat. They have to, because they're so brave, so or fanatical. So in that case, we just ignore that. And so we spent that spider hole card. And then I'll just put that there. But because we've used a recon card, we actually get to draw a new tactics card. So we'll do that for the Americans. New tactics card, reinforcements, always handy. And I just need to work out if you get a new air card. I don't know if you do. I'm just going to look now. Yes, that's it. Get a new air card. So that is not bad. Another ground to air. Need some Japanese planes to turn up. Right, okay. That's not too bad. So that's the Americans done. So we need to get rid of that. I think I probably revealed that card, but it's not very powerful. So, and then we've used return to duty, that's gone. Then we need to replace with another card. Okay, for Japanese, A and B, armoured assault or probe. Okay, I think I'm going to do probe. Do have a lot of tactics cards on the table. I feel that I need to start using them up, but I am going to actually use, I'm going to use armoured assault. No, probe, we use probe. Probe on the right flank for the Japanese. And what they're going to do with that? We're going to order this fella, and we're going to order this infantry. And what we're going to do is we're also going to use jungle fighters. And what we're going to do with jungle fighters is move this guy back to... I am using tactics for the Japanese here. Maybe, breaking my own rules a bit, but I just feel like I don't want it to be too easy for the Americans to slaughter them and sort of exploitative. So it makes sense in this case that this engineer would retreat. So we're using jungle fighters to ignore having to stop on the terrain there. So and then we're going to do another attack with this infantry next to the guns. So mark him up, and he is going to attack with 3 dice. Probably need to get a Japanese plane on the table soon though. Okay, we've got a grenade. So Japanese destroy the final gun. They put this on their medal stand. There's 5 more to go, and then they're going to take ground into this position and remove the sandbags. So we've had an infiltration happen here. They've got onto the guns with all the canister firing, and there we go. Okay, not a bad play for the Japanese. I think if any more tactics cards turn up though, we're going to have to actually start using them. Almost like force the Japanese to use them. Okay. Back to the American player. D and E. Attack on the left flank. That probably is the right move there. I wonder if we can bring in a plane. Just going to see if I can withdraw a plane if it's not in. So, before playing a command card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to withdraw this plane off the battlefield. Off he comes. He's gone. And then we're going to attack on the left flank. Mark up a few more guys, so we'll mark up this one, and this one. Okay. Just reminding myself, I think artillery ignore terrain when firing. I'm going to double check that. I think they do. Pretty certain. Just checking that. Yeah. Always powerful. So this artillery is going to attack them at full whack. Oh, we're probably going to want to use this reinforcements, aren't we? Okay, we're going to roll 3 attacks with the artillery on the Japanese. Oh, that's exactly what we wanted. 3 Japanese troops killed. Very good. These guys are going to then make sure they try and finish these guys off. So they're going to use, so they'd get 3, it's down to 2. But let's hopefully that's enough. Okay, yep, we've got a Japanese medal. We've destroyed those units that destroyed the artillery. They've overrun, got too far, and they've been taken out. Probably imagine some brutal hand-to-hand fighting going on. And then we're going to fire at these Japanese in the river. 3 dice. And we've got a grenade, so that's only 1, but so he survives. Okay, great. Oh, I forgot we've used jungle fighters up. Get rid of that one. Okay. And then that's it. Very good. I think the US are doing a little bit better here. So the Japanese really, they need to shift up those forces over the river, over the bridge, because otherwise they haven't got the weight of fire. And I'm going to now use the reinforcement card for the Americans, which basically allows me to bring on a fresh unit. Very powerful, this one, almost too powerful. Tank, 1 flamethrower armor unit. That is insane. That is far too powerful. Okay. Oof, I don't really feel... I'm going to have to just pause the game as I go and grab those pieces, because that was unexpected. That could be a game changer. Very, very powerful. Okay, this is nuts and frankly borders on the broken. So it's saying here that must be created from spare figures, a badge or equipment pack figures, and is deployed at full strength on a vacant hex next to a friendly unit. So I have somehow managed to bring forth an artillery unit. So I'm going to literally place these in the river. I'm just going to check if I can even, a fordable river like this can even have tanks on it. I don't know. I'll have to check that one. Let me just have a look. Fordable rivers. There's always something in this game. Yep. Okay, so we have a flamethrower tank that has made its way forward into the fray. Terrifying. Okay, this could make it really difficult for the Japanese, I think. Could be a bit of a turkey shoot. Just reminding myself the rules for these flamethrower tanks. Okay, that's good. So they basically can do better in jungle, for example. All right, okay, right, let's see if the Japanese can pull this back. We've just done attack on the left flank. Let's clear up. A and B. Okay, we've got probe in the centre. Come on, Japan. I want better from you. I think we're gonna have to use a plane. So let's get. We'll do probe in the centre, and we'll bring on precision bomber. So we're gonna bring on this Japanese bomber. Absolute beast. Okay, that's very strong. Okay, just looking at a bomber. It's got 6 bombs. We can go with it. Come on. I want to get the revenge. I mean, I'm playing as the US, but I feel getting a free flamethrower tank was a little bit cheating, frankly. So we're going to bomb it. So this plane is going to come on here, and it's going to. We'll do the bomb markers in a sec, but you'll soon see what I'm doing. So we've got 1 more unit to activate, and I think it's going to have to be the flamethrower tanks. So we will do them. So they're going to be activated. So the flamethrower tank is going to shift to here. And then the bomber is going to go deploy here. Oh, what am I doing? It's the Japanese. Sorry, I'm going mad. The Americans. It's not their go. Japanese, what are they going to do? Can we save this infantry unit before he's destroyed? That might be the best thing to do. Yeah, so this infantry unit, whether to use be more offensive, he might just be dead anyway. Yeah, let's get these infantry. So these infantry here are going to move up. So forget this guy. These guys at the back, they're going to shift forward and try and attack these tanks before they become a threat. And then the bomber is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and place 3 bombs, 1 on the tanks, 1 on the infantry, and 1 here. Okay, so we've got bombs. So these hit on stars, and my special precision bombing card, standard attack rumper, tolls 2 dice for each bomb marker, and hits are also scored from rolling a star, and flags cannot be ignored. So this is pretty strong. So let's do the bombing run first. So we're going to have 2 dice on the tanks, tank hit, and a retreat which can't be ignored. Okay, fair enough. So we've lost 1 tank. Does mean the infantry now are a little bit more limited. I should have thought about that. Okay, and then we're going to fire two bombs on the infantry there. The next one along. Okay, more powerful. Pretty strong, this bombing card. Maybe I should have started using the Japanese planes earlier. And then another 2. That's a star, and I think they might, yeah, stars effect. So that's another infantry. So the line's been pummeled by these big B4M bombers. There we go, very nice. Okay, right, these infantry, they're going to attack. They're going to change their target now to the infantry in front of them. So Banzai charge, they'll get 3 attacks, 3 dice, just because of the terrain restriction. Grenade and a flag. So that infantry unit. Oh, it's already bloody battle, this one, I tell you. Right, precision bombing's used up. This could be an opportunity for the Americans to use their anti-aircraft guns, though. It's kind of amazing, like, this system, because although I'm playing both sides, it really doesn't feel that I'm having to, you know, really think it out in a way that means it's like kind of causing paralysis. I think it's the limited choices you just end up playing quite clearly on the side that you think makes the most sense. As in, it's not difficult to work out what to do. Right, so we've just done probing the centre for the Japanese. That's done. I need to work how many more bombs I've got left for the bomber. So he's done 3, so he's got another 3 left. Smart, put those on him. Kind of cool, these planes, to be fair. They're not too powerful by themselves, but they can add a little bit of nuance to it. I was a bit worried they'll be too strong, but yeah, in this case, it makes sense that the Japanese will have a slight advantage here. It gives them something else than just Banzai charges. Okay, right. Done. America, what are you doing? Can you recover? CDE. Infantry assaults. Counter-attack. I think we might need to do infantry, all infantry in one section. That's probably a good idea. Although, I'm wondering if it might be worth trying to get that anti-aircraft gun ground to air attack. I think that might be good. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're going to do recon in force. So 1, 2, 3. they're going to try and take the bomber down. Okay, so this is just an anti-air attack. I've not really done this yet, so we'll soon find out how this works. So usually, so we have to be next to them. We roll our normal dice. It's a grenade. So we get to roll 2 extra die. It's quite a lot. So for the ground to air attack, and on a star. Okay, so this could be an absolute win for us here. So we roll ground to air attack. So we're going to have 5 attacks with the first set. So we'll use this guy first. He gets 5 attacks against the bomber, which is mad. That's a lot of attacks. And he needs grenades or stars because the ground to air attack allows me to hit with stars as well. Okay, so the ground to air attack being used up. Okay, so we've got 1 hit on a star. Not very good, but something. And then you have to roll to confirm. So if we get a grenade and then or a flag, the plane is a grenade, plane's destroyed. If you get a flag, the plane retires. Infantry. No. Okay, rubbish. Second guy, we're going to use our second ground to air attack card. So we've used 2 up. And then we're going to roll 5 attacks on the plane. And they all miss. Wow, that was rubbish. The chances of that are not high. So wasted 2 valuable tactics cards. Obviously these bombers are flying too high for the whatever anti-aircraft guns the Americans have. So disappointing, to not say the least. Let's see if they can wipe out this 1 infantryman here. 3 attacks. No. Okay, so the first one's ignored. The second one can't be. That's flags, 2 flags. So they're going to retreat back. Luck of the dice for this game. Luck of the dice. Okay, right. Just use recon in force. It's gone. Bloody game so far, but we haven't really had decisive knockouts of units yet at all. Okay, over Japan. Oh, the wrong type of dice. Feeling very scatty today. I'm not quite together. It's been a while since I've done a video. D&E. Okay, so we're looking at Japan. Medics and mechanics. If I don't say so myself, that might be my best option. So we've got 5 command cards. So we can use medics and mechanics to repair my troops. So let's try and get those engineers back in the fight. I think that's the best bet. Get the engineers back in. Okay, so we're going to roll 5 dice. See if we get any infantry or a star. Wow, that's all of them back. Fully strength. The engineers are replaced. Rare, powerful engineer units. Perhaps there was a reserve unit. Or maybe the first attack didn't actually take them out. Maybe they just had to pull back. But anyway, okay, that's a real decisive move for the Japanese there. Okay, right, medics and mechanics, that's gone. Bringing in the next card. Okay, let's roll for the Americans. Tactics card. I think Tentity is the same, so we'll counter attack. So there we're going to use medics and mechanics, and we're going to try it on that infantry unit. They can also be ordered. Forgot about that. Japanese engineers are going to shift forward into the jungle, where I think they can shoot. Yes, 3, 2, 1. So they get 1 dice. Sorry, this is going back for the engineers. Yep. Okay, fine. Right, back to the Americans. They're going to counter-attack medics and mechanics, 5 dice. It's a bit cocked. Okay, I think they get the full unit back. This is absolute attrition. There's no way around it. This game's going to go on forever. It's one of the most indecisive games I've ever had. There's all these kind of bolstering cards and stuff we're getting. Okay, and then they can be ordered, so they're going to instantly just try and attack the infantry in the river here. So they get 3 attacks. Okay, so 1 grenade, it's another infantry unit lost. Alright, moving on, back to Japan. ABC, assault on the right flank. Yeah, this is what we want for the Japan. Okay, so all of these units here are going to get moved. I'm not going to bother marking them up because we know there's going to be all of them, so try and be as quick as I can. I want to make space. So let's get these guys here. 1 unit, 2nd unit, 3rd unit, 4th unit, sprinting down the beach, 5th unit. Big attack, big attack. Right, so we've got 2, I think, who can battle. So the engineers are going to go first. They ignore any, well, in fact, we'll do these guys first because they, let's just see what they do. So they'll attack with 3 dice, these guys here. It's going to be one. Okay, and then the engineers, they're going to try and finish these guys off. So it's going to be, they get to ignore any terrain reductions, so it's going to be 4 dice. Smashed it. And that's all of those deads, and then the engineers can then shift in, taking ground. So we've got 2 medals now for the Japanese, so they're slightly ahead. Can the US hold their ground? Let's find out. Okay, right, that's all my attacks. Quite for good fun, this actually. Yeah, it's surprising. 2-handed solitaire. You'd think it'd be highly inferior to, you know, your usual solitaire game. You know, let's look at the hierarchy, best game playing with another person. Yeah, I don't disagree. It is better to play with other people, but it's just hard to get it on the table. And you know, I love war games, and not everyone does. And getting people to agree to play complicated war games is hard. I have managed in the past, and I do. I've got lots of friends I play miniature war games with, but board games a little bit harder to get out. So you've got a more dedicated solo play. Yeah, love that. I really like it. It's like very procedural. You're against a bot or a kind of a fixed AI or states of siege rolling dice. You know, so it's you against the system. works great. Two-handed solitaire almost feels like lesser, but I just feel in this case, because it's quite random, you're kind of trying to create a story, it doesn't really feel like that. Yeah, good system this. Okay, D and E for the US. Okay, so I think we've just had assault on the left flank. I think what we want to do is counter-attack that. So I think with counter-attack you always use the same flank that was used. So in that case, it's not actually going to be that effective because it doesn't move over here. It stays over on this side. I still think it might be the best option. So we're going to counter-attack it. We're going to use the artillery, and we're going to use our infantry here. We're just going to try and do some damage to these guys in the open. So the artillery first is going to fire 3 dice at these guys. So, yeah, I know, probably should re-roll cock dice, but I feel if it's almost flat, why not? Okay, 1 infantry is dead. Ignore 1 flag, but not the second. And then these infantry, they're going to try and attack the engineers. It's going to be 2 dice. 1 engineer's down. Okay. Okay, Japanese. ABC. I think it's got to be recon on the right flank because we could do 4 units. Well, am I overthinking it? Yeah, we'll do direct from HQ because I think we just need as many troops forward as we can. So they're going to take. So, and also I'm trying to play their most powerful cards, you know, rather than overly thinking of it. I'm not doing very well at, you know, making them a bot. I'm actually I'm getting quite excited with what the Japanese can do. So I'm using some finesse with them, which I probably shouldn't be doing. But oh well, it's my game. I can do what I like. Right. So direct from HQ. These guys. Right. Let's order these guys. 1, 2, 3. 4. Okay. 1 unit. 2nd unit. 3rd unit. And then 4th unit. Just going to come forward 1. Try and attack these flamethrower tanks. Right, let's start on the left. Okay, so they're not full strength, so they're only going to get 3 die. So we're going to roll 2 each for these. So these guys, so they've been shredded on the beach. No dice, and then second attempt, flag ignored. Okay, maybe that was a slightly weak idea. And then these guys can get 3 attacks onto the infantry in front of them. They do it. Another shredded marine. Oh, this is quite hard for the marines actually. Maybe it's just me being a bad player. Take ground. These guys are done. And then we've got the final one here, they're going against the tanks. 3 attacks. 1 tank is damaged. Great. Okay, Japanese are all over us, basically. There's no way around it. They're breaking through across the river. I just love how this game kind of represents the Japanese infiltration tactics. Zerg rushing forward, just getting in up around you, and then all the kind of jungle fighting rules and for the combat cards just add an extra like level of brutality and danger from that. Okay, so we're going to now go over to the US side, and they finally get something back here. So that's going to be C, or lowest value combat card. Oh, sorry, operations card. Yeah, it's got to be infantry assault then. Okay, I think the Americans can do something here if they're smart. We've got a lot of guys in the middle. I think we can try and secure this whole right flank. Alright, we're going to operate on the right hand side. So infantry assault means that troops can move twice and fire. So I think we might be able to move some troops to the centre to try and reinforce. Okay, 1, 2. Might seem like madness, but I don't think it is. Right, I'm going to try and shoot these guys at the plane. Get a medal for that, that'd be great. So, firing three dice. Out of the plane, we're going to need grenades. Nope. And this one. Nope. It's very hard to hit planes. And then these guys can do 3 into the infantry there. It's 2. And then these guys are going to do the same. Hoping for a wipeout. And we got one. The right flank from the Marines' perspective is cleared, and we've got another medal. So they're catching back up. Okay. So we've just done infantry assault. Place that one. Okay. I think I'm just going to take a quick break for the next one. Right, so back again. We're just looking at next Japanese turn. So let's roll for that. D and E. I think it would be the move out order. We want to just kill as much as we can, I think. Okay, so we're going to stick where the iron is hot. So I think we're going to select this unit here, which is weakened. Clear these ones off for the US. Keep the engineers in play. You know what? I think aggression is key, so let's keep it on the pressure on here. In fact, good. Okay. Well, where I could bling on a plane, I've already got one. I might withdraw the bomber this turn. And then, yeah, so we'll move this unit to here. Engineers will stay where they are. These guys are going to shift forward one down the river. I think that's it. So we'll start with these guys. So they'll do 3 attacks. That's retreat order. They're going to stay where they are so they don't block the shot of the next squad. So these guys are going to attack the tank. It's going to be 2 attacks. That's a grenade. I'll re-roll that one, but it shouldn't make any difference. Original result was a grenade, so that is destroyed. Flamethrower tank never even got a chance to fire. So those guys are done. Then the engineers are going to do attack on the infantry next to them. So they're going to have 3 die because they get to ignore any terrain restrictions. That's a retreat, so that's ignore. That's just nothing happens. And then these guys here are going to do another attack. I think they're going to go for the artillery. So it's going to be see if we can get lucky. So we get 2 die. Nothing again. Not very strong for the Japanese, unfortunately, for them. Okay, so that was move out. No, sorry, direct from HQ. That's now used. Back to the US. Okay, got a tactics card, or so we're going to use a move out order. Let's try and clean up a little bit here. We want to try and take that last remaining infantry unit out. Okay, so be 1 on this unit. One on this unit. 1 on this unit. And 1 on this unit. This might be risky, but we're going to try it. Yeah, big risk with this, but sometimes that's what you got to do. Just going to remove our sandbags. We're going to move these guys to here. And these guys are going to shift to here. Okay, we're going to start with this squad, so they're going to fire 2 dice at the forward Japanese in the river. 2 dead. And then this squad here is going to fire 3 dice at the remaining Japanese in the river. Gone. We get a medal. It's evening up a little bit. And then these guys here are going to actually try and take a punt at the guy retreating into the jungle. So he's only going to get 1 dice, but you know, there's always a chance. We got him. 4 dice. So that's we're 4-4 now, so it's getting close to the end game. Okay. And then we've got just one more guy over here, and he's going to try and shoot the engineers. So we'll get 2 die. 1. Okay, over to USA. No, USA's just gone. Which one we were doing? It could be either of these, I think. So we'll get rid of this one. Okay. Over to Japan. AB, recon on the right or armoured assault. I think they'd go with recon on the right because we'll get us more tactics cards and air cards. So we're going to use yeah, I think see if we can get these engineers doing some work. Feels a little bit desperate at the moment. Maybe we'll get a Banzai charge with these guys. So that's the recon. This card. And then they're going to do 3 attacks. Whoa, brutal Banzai attack, 3 Americans dead, almost destroyed that position, so they've almost got the breach to be fair. And what that means is we now get to draw, as well as being, I've probably forgotten to do this, but when you draw a new card after a recon, it goes face up rather than face down. So we get rid of that one, we get a face up card, Accelerate Bombardment, and then we also get to draw a combat card and a air card. With all these expansions, recon suddenly becomes one of the best cards in the game, to be honest. So we've got another air to ground ambush. Man, it's not very good. Pull back, there we go. That could be useful. Artillery bombardment or armour assault are not very useful for the Japanese because they do not have any tanks or bomb or guns. So kind of dead cards. Right, what are we looking at? Back to the US. ABC. I think what we want to get is, we really do want to maybe get a plane on the table. So I might use recon on the left. So we're going to use recon on the left flank. We're going to use the artillery. And we're going to do them straight at the infantry. It's trying to get behind us. So we'll mark this guy up. We're going to bring in well, we would bring in a plane, but we'll wait till next turn. So we're going to attack with the artillery. It's going to be 3 dice on these infantry here. 2 infantry in a retreat, which they ignore. See savage fighting here. And then we are going to draw new cards. So we get new air card. Nice to get something interesting. Precision bombing. And then a combat card. Juretsu, which we can only use for jungle warfare for us. Okay. Recon on the left flank. And then that comes face up because it was a recon card. Alright, back to Japan. tactics or lowest. I think we're going to have to use a tactics card. Let's do, yeah, I can never remember if it's or. So we're going to do a dice roll. Basically 1 to 3, they'll do a tactics card. 4, 5, 6, they'll do the probe. Okay, they're going to go for a tactics card. Could cost them the game. Alright, the engineers are going to go for the infantry. So we're going to use armour assault, and they're going to go against these infantry. One infantry, and that is another medal. So the Japanese only need one more, and they've got the game. I think they'll stay where they are, so they don't get. They might want to take that artillery, so we might just bring them forward. Okay. All right. Potentially final few turns now. Tactics card again, or lowest. I'm just going to check the CGG system on that. If there's one or no face-up cards, play any face-up tactics card or play the lowest. Okay, so it's an either or. I think we would play a tactics card. So the lowest. So I think we're going to try another recon card. We're going to try and bring on a plane. So we're going to use recon on the left flank, and we're going to use precision bombing for the Americans. So we'll get on our plane, American fighter bomber. Probably had the wrong marker on that actually. Yeah, I had the wrong marker on the Japanese bomber. Please forgive me. I was just saying, these tokens are not particularly clear. Doesn't matter. Right, on he comes. So we're bringing our plane on. And the fighter bomber is going to roll 2 dice. So fighter bomber has 3 bombs. Just going to check whether the bomber should have his ammo. What happens with ammo? When it comes back, do I need to... I'll cut this bit out if I need to. Right, sorry, a bit of a clarification there. So I think I've got all my ammunition back for my fighter bomber. So I've got 3 normal attacks and 3 bombers attacks. So So the bomber, he's going to come on. We're going to use, as I said, precision bombing as our card, and he is going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Should drop 3 bombs behind him. 1, 2, 3. I get to roll 2 dice per unit. So let's try with this one. Stars and infantry, flag, and then on to the engineers. This could be a game decider if we actually get this. So the bomber's coming to hit the engineers. Stars and flags have an effect. 2 grenades. That's it. Done. Fighters coming in. Fighter bombers destroying the weakened Japanese infantry. Just about pulling it back for the US. So the US Marines have won the game with air power. Now I feel like the air power there really was the decider. Some would argue maybe that breaks the balance of the game, but it's Memoir. Like, it's their balance, not really. You know, it's so swingy on dice. So it just tells a good story, really, and it kind of made sense there. The Japanese were a bit bunched up and they were weakened, so some decent air power can come in. So sometimes playing recon cards is a better play than just kind of trying to use all your infantry, because on the right hand flank here, although I had a lot of infantry, they weren't going to be very effective shooting, and if they were, so imagine they're dug in a lot of the river line, if they try to move forward, they're going to be risky to Japanese counterattacks. Okay, cool. So thanks for watching. We may well continue on with this campaign and play through the Pacific scenarios. I might use the campaign rules. I've not decided yet. Just because, you know, two-handed, it's, you know, I don't want to skew it one way too much. It already adds. There's already enough of that element of indecision. I don't want to game one opponent against the other, but we might find a fun way of doing it. To bring a bit of continuity, because you can play all the way. There's about 9 scenarios on the Pacific campaign to go through, or more than that. And there's multiple. So you've got Guadalcanal, but then you've also got other island campaigns as well to draw it into a grand campaign. Whether we will actually ever get that far, who knows? But we might try and see if we can do the entire Guadalcanal. That'd be fun. Maybe a few beach landings and naval assets, but I've quite enjoyed using the air power here. It's a little bit clunky, I think. Some of the clarifications, cards need some clarification, but at least this one's purchasable. The old air pack was basically impossible to get hold of, and no one really used it, so this is just a good way of bringing planes in there. I'd like to paint them up so they're just a bit grey plastic at the moment, so maybe I'll look at doing that for one of our next games. Anyway, brilliant. Bit of Memoir, always a bit of fun. All right, thanks, bye.